When I say beautiful hags, no, I'm not talking about you. Don't flatter yourself. We have a wealth of hags. The classic green hag, sea hags, night hags, anise hags, and I don't know if you've noticed, but they are all incredibly ugly. Their horrendous appearances are, of course, by design. Hags revel in ugliness, both inside and out. They're disgusted by beauty of any kind. A mirror hag is so ugly that she literally has an ability called confounding ugliness, which forces a character to either look away in combat or risk becoming stunned. The anise hag has claws at the end of disproportionately large arms. She's wrapped in strange branches and wears, like many hags, skulls and bones. Her overall appearance is quite lumpy and hulking. She also stands 8 feet tall, which isn't part of the ugliness, but given the rest of her appearance, that height is pretty terrifying. Maybe her crushing hug attack should cause psychic damage. That was a bully thing to say. Actually, here's a fun fact about her. Although anise hags can easily tear a grown man apart, they love hunting children, preferring their flesh above all others. They use the flayed skin of such victims to make supple leather, and a hag slayer often shows the signs of this industry. Literally horrifying. But listen to this. When an anise feels especially cruel, she disguises herself as a kindly-looking elderly woman, approaches a child in a remote place, and gives it an iron token that it can use to confide in her. Over time, Granny convinces the child that it's okay to have bad thoughts and do bad deeds, starting with breaking things or wandering outside without permission, then graduating to pushing someone down the stairs, or setting a house on fire. The anise hag can disguise herself to look kind, specifically doing so in her cruelest moments. When this hag looks to corrupt rather than just rip and tear, she changes her form to accomplish the manipulation. The green hag has an illusory appearance. She does have to remain humanoid, and the illusion won't hold up to inspection. So a beautiful, smooth cheek will still feel bumpy and gnarled. Then there's a night hag who can just straight up polymorph herself to look nicer. No illusion necessary. Stepping outside of D&D, depending on the culture, story, or definition of a hag, they're not always ugly. Some stories do just use the word hag to describe an older woman, which, rude, but for the purposes of this video, I want to clarify that I am talking about hags as witches, as beings capable of performing magic. And I can't help but feel that these beings have been underestimated, their abilities underutilized. Let's first acknowledge the lazy and often unhealthy tradition of making evil characters ugly and good characters beautiful. I get it, we want what's on the inside to be reflected on the outside, and in a lighthearted fantasy narrative, it's simple and visually effective to have the worst bad guys look like bad guys. But we also know how terrifying it can be to not know someone's true nature or intentions. Even in Disney movies, hags and witches will make themselves beautiful when necessary to trick the protagonist. What I want is a hag that's beautiful all the time. Not using magic to maintain appearances, but a truly beautiful hag. Or at least not an overtly ugly one. These hags could still have markers of being hags, but not in a way that automatically labels them as such. The anise hag may still be a large woman, capable of surviving in a harsh mountainous climate, and she may not even look fully human, but she isn't instantly disturbing to behold. Her arms are large and strong, and the vines and branches wrapped around her are more artistic. And she isn't carrying any skulls or bones on her person. She looks like a creature of the mountains, and with a welcoming word or two, an adventuring party may have no qualms about stepping into her home. So one option is taking an existing hag and adjusting her appearance to make her either neutral or downright pleasant to look at. Or we make a new hag, an evil creature that's beautiful all the time, on purpose. Quick plug, this month on my Patreon, one of my posts is going to be a final version of this hag. I haven't fully fleshed her out yet though, so let's brainstorm. Let's chat. Don't worry, I won't use your ideas for what I officially create, but do let me know how you'd construct a hag like this. Hags in D&D always have a theme, based off location, weather, time of day. A beautiful, lovely hag may reflect the light of day or the beauty of the spring or summer. She may have pastel or jewel-toned skin, opalescent eyes, hair that flows like water, dotted with numerous flowers. She's strange and lovely to behold, and her voice is just as sweet. But her inner nature is evil, chaotic. She became this beautiful by absorbing the beauty around her, sort of like a vampire, leaving a wilted trail wherever she goes. It's not that she needs to be beautiful herself, but rather delights in the despair of those who have lost their beauty because of her, or the pain of a beloved garden turned to ruin and rot. That she becomes all the more lovely as a result of this magic serves to deepen the blow for those who have just experienced this kind of loss. She could have an ability opposite to that of a mirror hag, forcing a character in combat to either look away or be stunned by her beautiful visage. The flowers in her hair may contain potent poisons, or worse, allergens. She could have charming abilities, useful for gaining entry into a new place or escaping in a pinch. This hag's worst quality is truly her beauty. It's her most dangerous asset and one she protects at all costs. Weakening her power might involve damaging that beauty. An unfavorable haircut or a bloodied face renders her beautiful visage magic unusable until she can repair the damage. That's more or less what I have so far, but I'm not done. While we're on the theme of subverting expectations, what about good hags? By good hag, I do mean a D&D hag with the same hag abilities and histories, maybe beautiful, maybe not, but with a good nature. It sounds simple, but when being evil is your main personality trait, stripping that away leaves a pretty gaping hole to fill. In my opinion, there's two ways to go about this. A good hag can have the use of dark magic, but with the desire to do good with what she has. Or she can shape her abilities to reflect her lighter, purer sensibilities. A hag like this could be one of the usual options, but with a changed nature. A good night hag could still have purple skin, black hair, be ugly or beautiful, depending on your preference, and have the exact same abilities as other night hags. But how she uses these abilities is a little different. Her nightmare haunting might specifically target corrupt individuals, those in untouchable places of power. She captures the souls of the already damned, Dexter style, targeting those she deems evil. The good version of a night hag with altered abilities to reflect that inner goodness could be something like a dream hag. Rather than sending nightmares to a victim and killing them via supernatural exhaustion, she could send good dreams to those she wishes to bolster, granting them boons upon waking. Over time, these boons may have a permanent effect on the target. An Anna's hag could still be huge and dangerous to hug, but only when she deems a character an enemy. Otherwise, she loves to give big, sweet hugs, usually receiving few if she has a traditional hag appearance. She gives her iron tokens to communicate with children she hopes grow up well. Unable to play a regular role in their lives due to her usually horrifying image, through the token, at least she can be sure her influence reaches them regardless. Maybe these children grow up to be the wisest in their communities, rather than the most hated. But how and why would a hag turn out like this? One way hags are created is through a disturbing process of consumption. A hag will steal a baby in its first week of life, consume it, then give it a second birth, maybe returning the child to its original mother, maybe not. In 13 years, regardless of the child's original race, it will transform into a hag. This change may not be visually apparent at first, but their nature, if it isn't already, will become evil. At that point, they also gain access to magic, which they can then learn to harness. But what about the young girls who don't want to become hags, who know their fate and want to prevent it at all costs? If they can find it, why wouldn't they at least attempt a magical prevention? Maybe the process of becoming a hag is unstoppable, but the child's current nature, at least, can be preserved. They will eventually gain a hag's magic, and maybe they can't stop the physical transformation, but they can manage not to let it change their nature. At that point, how they use their abilities is up to them. I could even see this being a good backstory for a player character if you could find a way to balance the leveling. I know there's a hag-influenced heritage in Van Richten's, but I'm talking true hag here. Let me know if you have any thoughts on that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I started a new job recently, so I haven't had a lot of mental energy to put towards videos lately, but I'm hoping to get consistent again. But I guess a break isn't a terrible thing. Did your heart grow fonder in my absence? Don't answer that. I hope you have a great whatever it is, and I will see you next time.